Welcome to the Chronicles, told by the Chronikle. Cases of the missing, murdered, and unsolved. I'd like to thank everyone for watching today, and don't forget to head over to thecertifiedroracle.com where you'll find source information for today's episode. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a case. Let's get started with Chronicle number 12, the Christopher James Harvey case. The year was 1984. Karate Kid, Ghostbusters, and 16 Candles were what all the teens were going to see that summer. Playing on the radio, Prince with his hit Purple Rain, while Girls Just Want to Have Fun became an anthem among teenagers everywhere. Michael Jackson starred in the famous Pepsi commercial, while MTV had its first music awards, and the Apple Macintosh that would one day rule households was premiered. For Jim and Judy Harvey, their world was about to fall apart. That summer started off like any other for Christopher James Harvey, who went by Chris to all that were close to him. He stood 5 foot 11 inches and was 135 pounds, with light brown hair and hazel eyes. Chris was 14, soon to be 15, as his birthday was less than a month away. Chris had moles on his upper right side of his chest and on both arms, said to be very distinguishing marks on him. The Harveys were once again at their summer trailer in Hinsdale County, Colorado, to beat the hot heat of Andrews, Texas, where they resided the rest of the year. Their summer home was nothing extravagant. It was a mobile home in a trailer park community that butted up to the San Juan National Forest, just a mere 17 miles from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. On July 11th, Chris set out to take his dog for a walk. It was summertime, so his parents thought nothing of him taking off for a bit, as Chris appeared much older than he was. He was said to be wearing a brown or tan plaid shirt, his Nike hiking shoes with red laces, blue jeans with a leather Western-style belt, with a belt buckle that had Chris inscribed on it in capital letters. On his walk that day, a neighbor reported seeing Chris as he stopped by and talked about a band camp he would be attending later that summer. The neighbor told police Chris left around 3:30 p.m. This was the last confirmed sighting of Chris. As the hours passed, Chris's parents became increasingly worried. Then when their dog came back with no Chris in sight, they knew in their gut something was wrong. Keep in mind, it is 1984 and times were a bit different. Parents worried about their kids, but if they weren't home right away, not too many alarms went off. Oftentimes teens lost track of time, as cell phones were not in the hands of every person. Some articles give the parents a lot of crap about not calling the police until they did. However, back then it was not unusual for a kid during the summertime to stay out late, or even at a friend's place and forget to tell their parents, as their mind was distracted with other things. By 11 p.m. the police were called and a report was made. At first, law enforcement thought Chris had just gone on a hike and gotten lost. However, this was not probable, as Chris was an excellent backpacker and had been there for many summers and more than likely knew the terrain very well. The police would also note that Chris did not have enough supplies to stay gone for an extended amount of time. As it was late, the search did not happen until noon the next afternoon, and is said to have ended at 4 p.m. Friday after an extensive search of the area and surrounding areas were conducted. Law enforcement then stated with 95% probability that Chris was no longer in the county. It seemed as though he had vanished into thin air, and no one knew why. Then 6 weeks later, in September, local police found a boy beaten, wandering around Mountain Road in Eagle County, Colorado. The boy had no identification and did not know who he was. He was taken to a local hospital where he fell into a coma. The Harveys were contacted, and police believed this could be Chris. He was beaten so badly he had to have surgery to fix his face, so when Jim and Judy went into the room, the boy had bandages and a respirator covering most of his face. They agreed it was their son Chris, but as the days passed, they were not so sure, and had them compare dental records. It turned out that it was not their son, but rather an 18-year-old man from New York who was hitchhiking across the country taking photographs. It was said he was beaten for his camera and hiking gear. It does seem fairly odd that the parents could not ID their son by the distinguishing moles on their own child. Since then, no new leads have been made public, if there are any. On a blog on CNN, a lady by the name of Sally had some interesting things to say. The article will be linked at thecertifiedoracle.com. It is highly recommended to read this, as it could pertain to the case. Not much else has come out about Christopher. Christopher has never been seen or heard from again. His family is still actively looking for him and wants closure. If you have any information, please call 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Or the Hinsdale County Sheriff's Office at 970-944-2291. I want to thank everyone for watching today. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue helping families of the missing, murdered, and unsolved. As always, this is the Chronikle, signing off.